Well, thank you so much to the LDV team for bringing this together. And I'm going to talk about the power of visual technologies and how they might help us on the transition towards net zero and decarbonizing our economy. And I want us to take us back, though. It's been about 8-ish years since AlexNet. And since AlexNet came in and won the ImageNet competition and helped us realize that we had an innovation that we could turn engineering to, that would start to tackle this thorny problem of getting computers to see. And 8 years on the one hand is a long period of time. I mean, we've been through in the United States quite an exciting bit of politics in that time. We've seen 3 presidents go through it. We've also seen the AI boom. And for those of us who are sitting in this LDV event, I just want to reflect on what Evan saw and identified all the way back then. I mean, I can hardly believe that this is, I think, the 7th LDV Capital event. So real hats off and congratulations to the whole team for having that vision. The other thing that's happened in this 8-year period of time is that the dialogue around climate change has fundamentally changed. It's fundamentally changed in the sense that it has become a tremendous priority, one that it should have been a priority, of course, a long time ago, but a tremendous priority in large businesses, in national economies, and amongst founders as well. I'm incredibly heartened by the fact that more than 300 large companies have got net zero commitments, some as soon as 2030, and that dozens of companies have done the same, and that many, many more founders and entrepreneurs are moving in that direction. It's quite interesting to think about what we can achieve as a venture capital community when it comes to solving challenging problems. I mean, back in 2011, very little money went into AI research. And as soon as we proved that there was an engineerable problem and that there was a market opportunity, we vectored hundreds of millions and billions of dollars into that sector. Something similar is happening in climate technologies. I did some work last year where I looked at every funding round globally in any sector since 2013 and identified those that were related to solving the climate change problem and moving toward the net zero economy. And what we discovered was that about $60 billion of capital had been invested between 2013 and 2019 in about 1,200 startups. It's a tiny proportion of the assets under management in VC, but it represented an 84% compounded annual growth rate because founders were starting to turn their attention to this problem. When I look at that problem, the interesting, the way we frame it is essentially to say, well, listen, we've got these 5 key industry sectors, all of which need to eliminate their carbon emissions, and we've got these enabling technologies. Now, the fascinating thing is how important visual technologies end up being in each and every one of these areas. I mean, I think that that is really important. Of course, there are other technologies that come to bear, but most of the problems that we identify, whether it's in built environment or agriculture and land use, will require being able to go from CCDs, capturing photons and turning them into some kind of image that can be processed, analyzed, and dealt with. And I'll give you a few examples of that because I think this is a really important enabling technology in our journey towards the transition. So one of the key areas is in agriculture and land use and deforestation. And as a result of Earth observation satellites, many of which are now imaging the Earth in real time and every inch of the planet at 20, 30, 40 centimeter resolution, we're able to, in real time, assess what's happening to the biosphere and what's happening to forestation, both deforestation, reforestation, and afforestation. And it's a critical metric that we need in order to make good investment decisions in that domain. A second area that I find really fascinating is how we think about the production of our food, and can we do it in a more effective, efficient fashion, um, perhaps with high intensity farming that's located within cities. And here visual technologies become really, really important. So on the one hand, in these high intensity farms, you ultimately need to be able to control the growing conditions, and that requires taking readings, telemetry, visual telemetry, amongst other things, as well as, of course, pH readings from the plants themselves. And of course, you need to roboticize, otherwise these farms simply won't be profitable. And robots like this one from Ironbox will be able to pluck the plant through, with great accuracy. And there you can see the two cameras, stereoscopic cameras at the front of it. The last example that I want to give before I sign off is the challenge of decentralizing our energy system, moving it towards renewables. And one of the biggest issues is, what is the payback period for my solar panels? What kind of solar panels can I put on my house, and how am I going to figure it out? The manual survey is incredibly expensive, and it is a slow process. And so here we have a number of companies who are able to take those Earth observation satellite images and turn them into accurate rooftop surveys, so we can figure out exactly what it's going to cost, exactly the solar yield we're going to get, and when the system can be implemented. So it's part of the bigger puzzle of what's the most important goal that we face over the next 10 to 15 years as a community. Thank you very much.